Thailand's prime minister is lifting martial law, but in its place is Clause 44. It gives the military complete control of all three branches of the government, in effect, making it even more powerful. CCTV's Tony Cheng joins us from Bangkok with more.
Thanks very much, Mike. Yes, since the coup happened last year in May, we've been under martial law, a law that the Thai government has used very liberally. We've seen more than 1,000 dissidents, academics, anyone who the government feels could be a potential critic has been taken away for so-called attitude adjustment. There have been trials taking place in military courts, which take place in secret. A large number of people have been prosecuted under the lèse majesté laws of offending the monarchy. And there's been a lot of international condemnation of that. In response, the Thai government announced on Thursday that it was going to end martial law, but what they put in its place could be far, far worse. Since the coup in May last year, Thailand has been under martial law. The army has used its power liberally. Prolonged detentions without warrant, the banning of public assembly and dissent, and trials that have taken place in military courts in secret. On Wednesday, the Prime Minister said that would all end.
The lifting of martial law has been sent for royal endorsement already, and we're waiting for approval. The invoking of the new Clause 44 can be done separately.
That will be a relief for some. The tour operators are still struggling after the political turmoil of last year, and martial law has serious insurance implications for travellers. Travel agents and shop owners have been pushing hard for martial law to be dropped because they say that even though Thailand has been relatively stable since the coup, the fact that martial law is even in place has led to a drop of 20% in tourist arrivals. But as soon as martial law was lifted, another announcement from the military junta. A new law, part of the emergency constitution they put in place when they overthrew the government last year. Clause 44 can be invoked in case of a threat to national security, the monarchy, the economic well-being of the nation, stability or order. The military are still in firm control.
The powers under Section 44 of the interim constitution allow General Prayut simply to order anyone to do or not to do anything. He has power over the administrative, legislative and judicial branches with total impunity. There is no check and balance, there is no oversight as such. And that in itself is a very dangerous sign.
And if elections do take place, the law now prohibits assembly of more than 5 people, political discussion or criticism of the military, making them far from free or fair.
Any form of dissent to the NCPO junta, any opposition to military rule, freedom of expression, freedom of assembly, freedom of association will continue to be severely restricted.
So in substance, little has changed. Already, the act has been used to expand the powers of the military to summon and detain without charge for as long as 7 days, stop and search without warrant, and to seize assets. Clause 44 was also used on Thursday to block a trial into the murder of unarmed civilians by soldiers in the red shirt crackdown of 2010. And the power of the Prime Minister is completely unchecked. Well, yesterday the Prime Minister announced at a press conference that anyone who wanted to go against him or against the Thai government and criticize what the government was doing should get out of Thailand. So he's not in a very compromising mood. It's clear that these measures are going to be enforced. And there has been a fairly muted but criticism nonetheless of this in the Thai media. I think people are concerned that the military government has shown very little signs of reform, has shown very little signs of moving Thailand beyond its political conflicts as it promised, but it has put in place an awful lot of very authoritarian measures to make sure it stays in control.
You mentioned as it promised. What about the prospect of elections? The junta did promise those would take place in late 2015. Are they off the shelf now?
They're not off the shelf, they're still going to happen, but this is very much the carrot which is being dangled well in front of the nose of the electorate, and it keeps moving further and further away. When the coup first happened, we were promised elections at the end of 2015. That's now been put back to 2016. But again, as you heard in that piece, if elections do take place, they're going to take place in a very controlled atmosphere. We're going to see no gatherings of more than 5 people. In fact, political gatherings of any sort are banned under Article 44. So it's going to be an election that the military can very much manipulate. I think the first hurdle, however, is going to get a constitution. There was talk in the last month of a possible referendum on the election. The army is clearly very opposed to that as well. So I think before an election can take place, we're going to have to work out that compromise. But there's still an awful lot of debate about the Prime Minister, which the military government wants to put in place as a non-elected position, backed up by a Senate, which is also not elected, but appointed by the military. So I think we're entering a very dark phase here. The lifting of martial law it takes us no clearer to any sort of return to normality in Thailand, and Article 44 actually effectively makes the Thai government, and particularly the Thai Prime Minister, now a dictator.
Tony Cheng, live for us in Bangkok. Thank you.